Player-for-player trades are pretty rare unless you're playing Madden. We got probably one that's as big as we're going to see really ever. An all-pro for an all-pro player. Add in a Pro Bowl player on top of that. The Dolphins obviously trading Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, along with a 7th-round pick for a 5th-round pick in Minkah Fitzpatrick. Let's go ahead and tackle things for the Dolphins first. Great trade. Rare W for Chris Greer, who I still am wondering how he has a job. But this was a pretty good move. Jalen Ramsey and both Jonnu Smith, they're not going to be in this team's long-term future. My question is Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel really in the team's long-term future? They get back Minkah Fitzpatrick, who he's been subpar for the Steelers. Not subpar as a player, but he's getting paid as one of the elite defenders in the National Football League. He has 1 turnover or takeaway, I guess, in the last 2 years for Pittsburgh, so definitely needs to live up to the contract a little bit more. The Dolphins, they're already in the market for a tight end. Let's go ahead and take a look at a possible replacement via free agency. So here we go. In Mike McDaniel's offense, block first is definitely very important. Mercedes Lewis could be a guy if they're interested in him still playing at the age of 41 now, I believe. Gerald Everett, he's another athletic freak similar to Jonnu Smith, so that also makes sense. Hayden Hurst, also pretty athletic, but pretty uninspiring names on the tight end market via free agency. If you ask me, Cole Kmet makes a ton of sense right now for the Dolphins, a guy who's going to be above average in the blocking game, which is important for the Mike McDaniel offense, but also has the ability as a receiver. The Bears obviously drafted Colston Loveland with a top 10 pick. They have high expectations for him. So Cole Kmet to the Dolphins makes too much sense for me right now. And then back to Minkah Fitzpatrick. Like I said, he hasn't been the same playmaker that we've seen in the past. With that said, he's still a 3-time All-Pro player in his 20s. A great move by the Dolphins. Whether the Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel regime continues past this year or not, he has 2 years left on his deal. I would probably try to relock him up right now. The talent, I would not be surprised if we get another 5 interception season from Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's that level of talent, even if we haven't seen the numbers the past couple of seasons. Now let's tackle things from Pittsburgh's end, specifically with Jalen Ramsey. What is Jalen Ramsey at this point in his career? He is no longer the best corner in the NFL, a lockdown #1 guy. With that said, he is still super effective, in particular against the run, which the Steelers have struggled mightily against the run. And you need to be able to defend the run when you're going up against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson at least twice a season. Even though he's not a lockdown guy, he is still all right on the boundary. The Steelers have Darius Slay and Joey Porter Jr., who Joey Porter Jr. needs to level up his game a little bit, but they have the boundary guys. Jalen's great in the slot. The Steelers also have a slot piece right now, though, in Beanie Bishop, and then he can also play some safety. I think that Jalen Ramsey has a chance to be similar to a Charles Woodson, Rondé Barber, where he moves back to safety, or Rod Woodson for that fact too, and just becomes an all-pro player once again. So he moves back to safety. I think that's going to be his strength. Currently, the Steelers' safeties are the newly signed Juan Thornhill, and then Deshaun Elliott, who just received his contract extension as well. That's not a bad safety pairing, but it is definitely not inspiring for the most part. There are big-time safeties still available that I wouldn't be surprised if Pittsburgh tried to get at a bargain deal. Guys like Justin Simmons, Julian Blackmon's available. It's going to be interesting. The Steelers have brought back Terrell Edmunds in the past. Wouldn't be surprised if they take a flyer on him for the veteran minimum. There's somebody else. Oh yeah, Marcus Williams and Quandre Diggs. So there are other safeties. The Steelers have rolled with 3 safeties the last couple of seasons, whether that be with a committee approach with Minkah, obviously, DeMonte Casey, Deshaun Elliott last year. You've had Keanu Neal. So would not be surprised if the Steelers add another safety, but Jalen Ramsey, I think, is going to be a chess piece. They're going to move him all around. Now, let's talk about Jonnu Smith. The Steelers needed another offensive piece, and Arthur Smith has a fascination with Jonnu Smith. Going back to their Tennessee days, he brought him in during Atlanta, and Jonnu Smith actually outplayed Kyle Pitts, partially due to the target share. But Arthur Smith just loves Jonnu Smith. The Steelers have been ineffective using their tight ends really since Heath Miller retired. Pat Freiermuth is a very good tight end. Darnell Washington is a very talented tight end, and Connor Hayward has some versatility. My whole thing is, if you can't get the ball to one tight end, how are you going to get the ball to 2 or 3 tight ends? In theory, this could go very well. Jonnu Smith, versatile, just like Jalen Ramsey. So the Steelers, on both the offensive and the defensive side, getting a little bit more versatile. It's going to be interesting. They're going all in. Gone back and forth how I feel. For the Dolphins, definitely a win. For the Steelers, could be a win. We'll see. Steelers also are giving Jalen Ramsey a raise with the $1 million. I'm interested to see if Miami's picking up any of his compensation. They already paid some of it, I believe, but yeah, gotta love it. Just when nothing was going on. This is supposed to be NFL dead period. This happens. Music.